You know that feeling? When you're just craving a real upswing in your day-to-day life, maybe more energy, a sharper mind, just feeling better overall.
Yeah. But then you look around and the advice is just everywhere. It can feel kind of overwhelming, can it?
Totally.
Just,
So what if we could like cut through some of that noise?
well, it's interesting, isn't it, how often the really significant improvements don't come from these massive grand gestures. They come from surprisingly consistent, almost quiet habits.
Exactly. We've looked into this and distilled it down to 5, well, pretty straightforward healthy habits. Now, simple isn't the same as easy, right?
Right. Consistency is definitely the tough part.
Yeah, sticking with them. But this isn't about, flipping your whole life upside down overnight. Think of it more like 5 gentle but persistent nudges.
Little course corrections.
Perfect way to put it. So today we're going to explore how starting your morning with real intention can shift your whole day.
And the huge impact of just drinking more water. Sounds basic, but it's fundamental.
Then there's daily movement and not necessarily hitting the gym hard.
Plus fueling your body effectively with, actual food.
And finally, something we probably all need more of. The power of actually unplugging to, well, reflect a bit.
And if you look at the big picture, these habits, they really tap into some core stuff. Our mental resilience, our physical energy, our self-awareness.
And they kind of build on each other, creating this positive feedback loop.
Exactly. It's a cycle.
Okay, let's dive into that first one. Starting your morning with intention. Think about that reflex. I know I have it reaching for the phone basically the second you open your eyes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Plunging straight into emails, news, notifications.
Yeah, and our research really points to those first few moments as being incredibly powerful. They set the stage.
They really do. That immediate hit of external demands, it can actually trigger a stress response before you're even fully awake.
Wow, okay.
So what's powerful about starting with intention is it gives you a beat, a chance to set your own internal compass before the world starts, pulling you everywhere.
And we found some really practical ways to do this. Like 3 things kept popping up. First, just taking a moment, like really quick to think of 3 things you're grateful for.
Gratitude.
Second, setting just one simple, achievable goal for the day. Not a massive to-do list, just one thing.
Manageable focus. Love that.
And third, doing maybe a super quick breathwork thing or just a gentle stretch, nothing major.
And it's worth asking, why these specific actions? Well, that gratitude practice, it's been shown it can actually influence brain chemistry. Things like dopamine, serotonin, mood regulators.
Okay, interesting.
And setting that single goal gives you focus, right? Reduces that feeling of being overwhelmed right off the bat.
Yeah.
And simple breathing, like deep belly breathing, can directly calm your nervous system down. Helps you start the day from a place of, well, calm.
It really feels like consciously taking the reins, Instead of just reacting to whatever pops up first, it actually feels empowering, not like just another chore.
Checks.
And the payoff seems pretty clear from what we saw. Better focus during the day, less initial stress, and just this boost in mental clarity. And for anyone listening who wants to learn or think effectively, that clarity is gold.
It absolutely is. If your mind isn't already churning through 100 emails first thing, it's just more receptive, better able to handle challenges calmly.
Makes total sense. Okay, let's switch gears. Habit number 2, drinking more water.
Ah, the classic.
Right. It feels almost like a cliche, but honestly, the evidence we looked at really hammers home how crucial and frankly underestimated it is for our health.
It's kind of amazing how many things in our body depend on proper hydration. It's way beyond just not feeling thirsty.
Like what sort of things?
Well, everything from getting nutrients and oxygen to your cells, regulating your body temperature, even just basic brain function. Your brain is what, like 75% water?
Wow, I didn't realize it was that high.
Yeah. So even being just a little bit dehydrated can actually impact your focus and memory measurably.
Okay, that's a big one. And the advice wasn't just drink more, it was pretty specific, like aiming for at least 2 liters. That's about half a gallon a day.
That's a good target.
And suggesting adding maybe a squeeze of lemon or some mint leaves, partly for taste, but also potentially for like detox support.
Right. Makes it more appealing too.
Yeah.
And that other tip, just keeping a reusable water bottle with you, sounds simple, but it works.
Yeah, that accessibility point is huge. If it's right there, you're just more likely to sip on it throughout the day. It removes that barrier.
For sure. And those little flavors, lemon or mint, they can just make it feel less like a chore and more like a refreshing drink. Helps with consistency.
And the knock-on effects of not getting enough water are pretty wide-ranging. Impacts energy, concentration.
Digestion, skin, mood,
Yeah.
it touches a lot.
So the why here is pretty compelling. Feeling more awake, thinking more clearly again, critical for learning, and apparently it can even help with eating more mindfully.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good point. Sometimes that afternoon slump, you think you're hungry, but actually, you might just be thirsty.
Right, your body's sending a signal, but you misread it.
Exactly. So prioritize the water, and you might find you get better at figuring out what your body actually needs in that moment.
Okay, interesting connection there. Let's move on to habit number 3. Move your body every day.
And the key here, I think, is every day, but not necessarily in some hardcore way.
Exactly. This isn't about suddenly needing to train for a marathon or spend hours at the gym. The focus in the sources was really on making it accessible, avoiding that exercise feeling.
It's about finding ways to weave it into your life that you actually enjoy, or at least don't dread. Sustainability, right? Building a habit you can stick with.
Yeah, totally. And the examples are really varied and approachable. Things like just a brisk 20-minute walk,
Classic, effective,
or putting on some music and just dancing around your living room for a bit,
fun, gets the heart rate up.
or finding some simple yoga or stretching routines online that you can do right at home.
And the great thing about those is the flexibility. Movement doesn't have to be this big, structured, expensive thing to make a difference. Even short bursts count.
Totally. Breaking up long periods of sitting.
Yeah, that has a real positive impact, both physically and mentally.
And the why behind daily movement is pretty powerful too. Better blood circulation, obviously,
Big time.
but also a significant boost for mental and emotional health and even sleeping better.
It really is like hitting a reset button, isn't it, for your body and your brain?
Reset button. I like that.
Well, physical activity releases endorphins, natural mood boosters, pain relievers. Plus, it helps manage stress hormones like cortisol. And it can genuinely improve your sleep quality, which is just fundamental for thinking clearly and feeling good.
Right. Better sleep underpins everything else. Okay, habit number 4. This one's about nourishing your body with real food.
And again, the message wasn't about achieving some kind of dietary perfection. That's usually not sustainable. It's more about being intentional.
Making conscious choices more often.
Exactly. Thinking about food as fuel. Prioritizing things that give you sustained energy, rather than relying on processed stuff that often leads to that crash later.
So the guidance was basically more of the good stuff. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, healthy fats, actual food.
List of the highly processed things, the added sugars, focusing on meals that leave you feeling energized, not exhausted or sluggish.
And I liked the suggestion to start small. Like, don't try to overhaul everything at once. Maybe just focus on making one meal a day better.
Yeah, that gradual approach is key. Much less overwhelming, much more likely to stick. Small changes really do add up over time and can make a huge difference.
Definitely feels more doable. It's that progress, not perfection idea again. And the potential benefits are pretty big. More stable energy all day long.
Yep, stronger immune system.
And even a better mood, apparently.
Oh, for sure. There's a huge connection now being understood between our gut health and our brain, the gut-brain axis.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Yeah, the bacteria in your gut actually help produce neurotransmitters, chemicals that influence how you feel. So feeding your gut well with whole foods supports that healthy environment, which in turn can really positively impact your mood and mental well-being.
Wow, okay. It's all connected.
It really is.
All right, final habit, number 5. Unplug and reflect. This feels almost radical in today's world, doesn't it?
It kind of does. In a world that's always on, intentionally disconnecting feels like swimming against the current. But the research we looked at really highlights how vital it is.
Why is it so important?
Well, that constant barrage of information, notifications, just noise,
Yeah.
it leads to cognitive overload. It makes it hard to hear yourself think, hard to be self-aware. We need that space for our brains to process, to settle.
So the specific advice was pretty simple.
Yeah.
Just set aside maybe 15 minutes, maybe at the end of the day.
Yeah, a small, manageable chunk of time.
And do something like journaling or even just sitting quietly. The key thing was no screens, no noise, just quiet space for yourself.
Exactly. Dedicated stillness. And there were those simple reflective questions suggested, like, what went well today? And what could have maybe gone better? Or what could I improve? Sounds basic, but they're really powerful for building self-awareness and learning from your day.
Yeah, forcing you to actually process things instead of just letting the day blur into the next.
Precisely. And the benefits mentioned were pretty significant. Sleeping better was a big one.
Makes sense. Calming the mind before bed.
A greater sense of just inner balance,
Hmm.
and a chance to reconnect with your own thoughts and feelings, which can easily get drowned out by everything else going on.
Yeah, finding that internal connection again.
That quiet time lets you process experiences, acknowledge feelings, kind of declutter your mind.
Mhm.
It builds resilience, peace. It's like an anchor in our crazy digital lives.
Okay, so there we have them. 5 habits. Starting the morning with intention, drinking more water, moving your body daily, nourishing it with real food, and unplugging to reflect.
They seem straightforward, right? But each one packs a real punch. And as we've talked about, they're actually achievable.
Totally. And I think it's crucial to repeat that this isn't about being perfect. It's not all or nothing.
Absolutely. Progress is the goal. Even just adding one of these habits, starting slowly, can kick off a really positive chain reaction.
Yeah. And maybe to make it even less daunting, you listening could just pick one. Just one that resonates most right now and focus on that for this week.
Great idea. Small steps consistently add up to big changes over time. You really don't need some major life event to start making things better. You can literally start today.
Absolutely. Take care of your body, take care of your mind. You deserve it.
Which brings us to maybe a final thought for you to chew on. Looking at these 5 seemingly simple habits, which one do you suspect might have the biggest, perhaps unexpected, positive ripple effect in your life right now? It's often those subtle shifts that end up making the most profound difference down the line.